The way we'll bring the breath along is with ujjayi breath, which is a kind of staple practice in many yoga class settings. To practice ujjayi breath, I invite you to simply hug your breath on the inhale and exhale, almost like a whisper or a sigh. You might think about cleaning sunglasses and the way you can fog them up with your breath and that kind of steam that you can feel on your fingertips and see on the lens of your sunglasses. So I invite you to notice that kind of hissing sound in your ears as you inhale. And exhale, same thing, almost like a teapot steaming up. This is called ocean breath in Sanskrit. Ujjayi breath translates to English for ocean breath. And it's because of this ocean sound that we create to kind of keep us stapled to the breath and the present moment while we challenge our bodies with movement. So do with that what you will, take what you need, leave what you don't. I invite you to make your way to your feet if you choose to join me for sun salutation. You might like to back up to one end of your mat so you have a long and clear path ahead. As we did at the start of class, you might choose to rock forward and back on your feet and maybe just notice the sensation of being connected to the earth. Growing tall with a deep breath in from toes to nose, maybe choosing to turn your thumbs outward and reaching your fingertips towards the floor, settling the shoulders away from your ears. As you're ready to move, a big breath in might draw the hands upward. Option to connect the handprints and slide them toward your heart on an exhale. Let's do that again 2 more times. Inhale, reach up. Find center as you exhale. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, find center. We'll add on from here. Inhale, reach up. Connect your palms and hinge at your hips as you choose to fold halfway, bringing the hands to your lap as you lengthen your legs and your spine. Choose to stay right here for a breath, or float your hands towards the floor for a forward fold. If folding, you might nod your head yes, letting the head hang. When you're ready, root down through both feet and roll up to standing with a big breath in. Again, we'll reach up, big breath in. Connect the palms and hinge at the hips, finding a half fold. Pause here and lengthen, or fold all the way. Root to rise, big breath in. We'll add on again. Continuing to move with your breath, reaching up, hinging for a fold. Choose to pause halfway or fold fully forward. Lifting your hips towards the sky, still letting your knees be soft, allowing the head to hang. Root down through both feet and half lift, choosing to bring your hands to your shins or your lap, finding length again in the spine and maybe the backs of the legs. From here, we have the option to lower the hips and sit in an imaginary chair pose, finding chair pose. You might choose to make space left and right between footprints for added stability. As you lower your hips any amount, can you lengthen your spine here? Think about tucking your tail. Notice the activation of those abdominal muscles. Choose to stay here, or as you're ready, like diving from a diving board, lift your hips and send your heart forward, finding a fold. Root down, rise up, find your breath. Reset in mountain pose. Preparing to add on again. Reach up with a big breath in, find center as you fold halfway. Lengthen legs and spine. Choose to fold forward. Lengthen your hips towards the sky, opening the backs of the knees, letting your head be heavy. Option to lift halfway, finding length in the spine once more. From here, we'll sit in chair pose, maybe bringing hands to connect at heart center, or reach forward for counterbalance as though holding a tray. From here, you may choose to join me for a vinyasa, diving off that diving board to lift the hips and fold again. Maybe as you reach towards the floor, your hands find some ground and you begin to walk your hands and feet apart, keeping your hips lifted. This is downward facing dog. You might choose to enjoy it for a few breaths. Maybe bending one knee as you lengthen the other, and then switching sides, bending the other knee as you lengthen the first. Taking your dog for a walk as you lift one heel at a time, lengthening the IT bands on the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. Option again to make space between your handprints left and right for more stability and space for the shoulders. From here, you have the option to shift forward for plank pose, finding length as you reach behind you with your heels and reach forward with the crown of your head. Option to lower your knees and keep your elbows close to your rib cage as you lower all the way to your belly. Choose to stack your handprints here, making a little pillow for your forehead as you enjoy a breath or more. Option from here to bend one knee, bringing the heel towards your hips. Maybe you reach back and tickle that ankle or just know that it's there. Maybe you work toward reaching it and bringing it towards your heel. Again, you might choose to flex your toes towards your shin to help with the conversation with the hamstring. As you're ready, bring that hand forward, lowering that foot to the floor, and switch sides, bending the other knee to bring the heel close. Maybe choosing to reach back with one hand that may or may not find connection with that foot. Option to take a couple breaths here as you find length in the quad, pressing the thigh into the mat as you lift the foot towards the sky. And bringing your hands to rest under your forehead for another breath, connecting both feet with the floor. As you bring your handprints to the outsides of your shoulders, you might tuck your chin and look directly at the mat in front of you. Inhale to puff up just a little bit like a baby snake for a cobra pose. Exhale, bring your nose toward the mat. Let's do that again. Inhale to rise any amount for cobra. Peeling your sternum away from the floor. And exhale, peeling down. Last time, think about rooting the tops of your feet, the tops of your legs, your heavy hips, and your belly all onto the mat. And peeling up from your belly button to your sternum, away from the mat. Think about shrugging your shoulders towards each other behind you, bringing your elbows towards center on your back. And then peel down as you're ready to relax one more time. From here, press up, sending your hips towards your heels. Find child's pose as you choose to make space between your knees for your belly and rib cage to expand for a few breaths. Your hands can reach forward, letting your shoulders open up like a puppy that wants to play. Or it could feel nice to stack your hands with elbows bent wide, like a pillow for your forehead. Can you rest in the resonance of a few breaths here? Maybe noticing your heartbeat and any warmth you've created with this effort. And taking a moment to decide if more movement is a stable way for you to move forward with your practice today. Child's pose is always here. You may return to it as you'd like. Join me as you're ready to make your way to your feet. We'll move through some more sun salutations with this vinyasa and adding on the warrior poses. As your handprints connect with the floor, you may shift forward, tucking your toes. Maybe the knees hover as you lift your hips, Walking hands and feet to meet, finding a forward fold. Take a deep breath in as you root to rise, rolling up to reset in your mountain pose. Nice work. Take a place that feels stable, setting yourself up for success in mountain pose with the way ahead. A deep breath in might lift the hands to connect overhead, hinging at the hips. We'll keep moving this time, pausing at the halfway point to lengthen the spine and legs. We're exhaling to lower the heart towards the mat as the hips lift, nodding the head yes in a fold. Root to rise, lift halfway with a breath in, find length once more. Lower your hips, finding chair pose. Make space between your feet for stability as needed. Option to connect hands in center or counterbalance as you reach forward. And you tuck your tail and activate your abdominal muscles. Sitting with anything that comes up in the strength of your chair pose. As you're ready, dive forward as you lift your hips, forward fold. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, fold one more. Notice the length in the backs of the legs. Choose to root the hands and walk them away from the feet, finding downward facing dog. Option to stay here and breathe or take a vinyasa flow with me, finding plank pose. Lengthening from heels to crown, maybe lowering the knees and keeping elbows close as you untuck the toes and lower to your belly. Finish your exhale here. A deep breath in might lift the sternum as you find your cobra pose once more. Exhale, peeling down, rooting both handprints into the mat as you tuck your toes. And lift up for plank. Lifting the hips, finding downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, choose to lower them, making any adjustments in your stance with stability in mind. A big breath in might float one foot towards the sky, finding length in both legs. Exhale with strength as you bring your knee towards your nose and place your foot on the mat. From here, we'll pivot on the toes of the back foot, bringing the heel down towards center and maybe shortening the stance so that the foot can kind of toggle outward, but we're still going to face forward towards the short edge of the mat in front of us, if that makes sense. As you feel stable here in your foundation, as though a runner lunging, but maybe with that heel reaching towards the earth, press into both feet equally to rise, maybe finding center with the hands. Notice your footprints. Are they on railroad tracks or a balance beam or something in between? And can you make any adjustments to make this feel more sustainable? Maybe making space from east to west with both footprints. Option to connect your hands in center for a breath or more. Or allow them to lift, palms towards the sky as though receiving a gift basket. This is Warrior One pose. One more option still could be to connect your handprints, maybe hooking your thumbs and slow motion, moving with your breath. I like to imagine a battle axe and chopping up a challenge I'm facing, however small or big, into manageable chunks. So do with that what you will. Notice where you feel strength in this pose, in this posture. And can you move in a way that supports yourself and transition? Choose to move with me or opt out as we take a vinyasa. Bringing the hands to the mat. The back heel might lift away from the mat, coming onto the toes. We'll send the front foot up and back, maybe making our way to downward facing dog. Option to take plank pose and lower to the mat. Option to peel up for cobra. Or press up a little more after making some space, maybe even floating the knees away from the mat for upward facing dog. Heel down, keeping elbows close, moving with your breath. Tuck your toes, choose to find plank pose. Child's pose is there if you need it. We'll shift to downward facing dog. And this time we'll lift the other foot towards the sky, three-legged dog. Take a big breath in here. And exhale with strength to place that foot near the hands at the front of the mat. The back foot can move around or toggle, maybe coming out towards the long edge of the mat first before bringing the heel down towards center. There's no right or wrong. See what feels right for your body today. Pressing equally into left and right feet, lunging with the one that's in front. You might find your way upright for warrior one on the other side. Stay here and breathe, connecting hands in center, or as though to receive a gift from above. Or find that strong point of connection with both palms as though to wield a battle axe and slice through the challenges that lie ahead. Big breath in, strong breath out, wherever you are. Do that again. Big breath in, and strong breath out. Choose to stay and breathe. I'll meet you in mountain pose, or you have the option of joining me for a vinyasa as we bring the hands to the mat. Rising onto the toes of the back foot, you can lift the front foot and send it skyward for three-legged dog. Lower the foot to the floor, finding downward facing dog. Option to stay here and breathe, or lower your knees and take child's pose. For a vinyasa, find your plank pose. Choose to lower your knees, coming onto your belly. Inhale up for cobra or upward facing dog, activating the glutes, floating the knees, connecting the tops of the feet with the mat. And with control, keeping elbows close, lower to the mat wherever you are. You might choose to tuck your toes. Lift your chest and hips, sending your hips towards your heels. For child's pose, toes can be tucked or untucked. Option to let the shoulders rest open or bend the elbows to support the head on the hands. Can you notice the resonance of your breath in the safe space created in front of your heart? Can you notice your heartbeat after this effortful movement? And can you decide if you're ready for more strong standing motion? As you're ready, I invite you to root both hands into the mat. Activate your whole arms and shoulders, bringing shoulders towards the wrists for a kind of tabletop. You might tuck your toes, lift your knees, and allow the hips to rise, finding downward facing dog. Inhale as you lift your hips and your heels, and then lower your heels, keeping the hips lifted. Walk hands and feet to meet. Enjoy a forward fold and root to rise as you roll up to standing.